All right.
All right.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, we're live. So great to be here. How's everyone doing out there tonight?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, day after Mother's Day. Hope all the mothers out there had a wonderful Mother's Day. You deserve all of it. All the accolades that you get on Mother's Day, you deserve them.
That's right. Absolutely. We really do.
Yeah, I know it. I mean, you bring life into the world. What could be more powerful than that, right?
Nothing at all.
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. My name is John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Radlin Mendoza. And
Hey.
we are the immigration law firm, Gardner and Mendoza Immigration Law. We come to you every Monday night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. to bring you immigration updates and to, have fun, tell funny stories,
Answer questions,
crack some jokes, and most importantly, I'm getting there.
Oh, okay. John was leading up to it. I see.
Yeah.
Dripping out the info.
To answer your questions. So if you have immigration questions, bring them, get them posted, and we'll try to answer them. I want to warn you that what we do here is for entertainment purposes only, information purposes only. It is not legal advice. Okay. So bring your questions, post them up. We'll get to them. But when we answer them, it is not legal advice. It's just our thoughts on the matter based on the limited information that we have from your question. I also want to say hi to all you folks out there in TikTok world. We simulcast on Facebook and with TikTok.
I like how you say TikTok world.
TikTok world. Yeah, there's a TikTokers out there, man. Simulcast. Yeah, it's a broadcast. It's a simulcast. Anyway, hello to all of you on TikTok. You're great. We know that the TikTok folks bring most of the questions.
Bring the energy.
Yeah, just saying. So here's my only request from you, TikTok world.
You start off with a lecture every time.
No, it's a request.
It's not a lecture.
It's not a lecture. It's a request. It's just a request.
Yes.
I'm screening the questions, and if you could just post the question one time, that'd be great. Because when you post it like 20 times in a row, it just jumbles everything up.
I'm laughing.
And then I have to go down, then I have to go back up because we take them in the order that they come in. And so when you put them in there a bunch of times, it actually slows down the process, makes it less likely that your question will be answered.
Yeah, that's
a fact.
That's so true.
So if you're just trying to spam the TikTok with question,
they're
repeated.
Not trying to spam.
Well,
I'm sure no one would want to do that. Ooh, and you know what? I forgot to check to see who registered before we started. Anyway.
Okay.
We will get to it. So you did the warning and all that good stuff.
Yes, the warning has been given.
Not legal advice, guys. Not legal advice.
Yeah, we have a few updates tonight. There's been a lot going on in the immigration world. And we have some updates. They're not like massive updates. One is that a federal judge denied the request for an injunction to try to stop the IRS from sharing information with DHS, Department of Homeland Security. And so as a result of that, if DHS is looking for somebody who they think is in the country unlawfully and they're trying to apprehend them, they are going to be able to share the information they have with the IRS, and the IRS is going to then cross-reference their own database and see what information they have and provide it to DHS for updated addresses, etc. So,
yeah, that's
something.
This is I'm sure very concerning for people out there who are undocumented and they pay their taxes. And some of you might be wondering, well, how can someone who's undocumented pay their taxes, and why would they pay their taxes? So people who are undocumented and otherwise not eligible for a social security number can apply for an individual tax identification number in order to file their taxes. And many undocumented people apply for an I-10 because they do have jobs and they want to file their taxes. And so why would they file their taxes? This is beneficial if they apply for a benefit in the future. If they're going through an immigration process, filing your taxes shows responsibility, and it shows a person, that is really trying to take care of business, do the right thing. And I think that people who are undocumented, who apply for the I-10, have always believed and always been told that this information is not shared with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and it's fine. Pay your taxes. We'll take all your money. All good. But now that seems to be coming to an end, and we'll see what the fallout may be. Maybe fewer people will file their taxes, and that remains to be seen. But I know that people are scared about filing their taxes, and from the news article that I have read, they are really wondering whether they're going to be filing their taxes in the next year. So we'll see what happens. Hi, Rick. How are you? Thanks for saying hello.
Yeah, hello, Rick. And we've got some questions starting to load up here. One other update that I had involves a policy change that is designed to sort of cut through the backlog of asylum cases. At the end of 2024, there were about 1.5 million pending asylum cases. Typically, these cases, there's a filing, and then they have a hearing at some point down the road. And oftentimes the initial filing is pretty basic. And then the person can have time to sort of try to add in more information. The policy change now is to encourage the immigration judges to look through these cases and to basically find ones that are on their face. In the law, that means just based on the pleadings, the paperwork that's been filed. If it doesn't look like it is going to meet the requirements, to just get rid of those cases, to not send them on for a hearing, but to just resolve them in a denial based on the fact that on their face, they're deficient, they're lacking something. And, this is something that they really hammer home in law school, not just in the immigration law context, but in all contexts. Pleadings have to be really, really properly done, because if the pleadings are wrong, cases can get dismissed. This happens in all areas of law. And then you have to refile. But when you have to refile, then you go back to the back. Here, the stakes are much higher, because not only are you being denied, but you're also not given an opportunity to just go ahead and refile. So what AILA is encouraging folks to do, these are complicated cases to begin with. They're hard. And so if you are pursuing asylum without an attorney, I would strongly suggest that you not do that. This is really an area where you need to find an attorney that does asylum cases to make sure that they can get as much filed in their initial skeletal filing, so that at least can get over that first hurdle and not get bumped out automatically on its face. All right. And then hopefully you can have more time to get your case filled out before you have an actual hearing, but you don't want to get knocked out of the race before you even got a chance to run. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of these cases. So make sure you find somebody. Give us a call if you need referrals, or you want to talk to us about it. Depending on where you are, we can absolutely help you. Okay. Yep. Don't go this one alone. And I know this is a really hard thing, because just asylum cases by their nature tend to deal with folks who don't have a lot of resources to begin with. I mean, if you're here seeking asylum, chances are you're not rolling in the bucks. So I know it's tough, but do your best. Lean into family if you have to try to get some funds. Try to find public services that are providing pro bono services, whatever it may be, but try to get legal help with this case, with your asylum case.
Yep.
As opposed to trying to do it yourself.
100%.
Especially now. I mean, that's always the case. And we always give that advice about all immigration cases, that you should have an attorney. But when I read this and saw this and was, sort of sifting through it, it's really clear, because these asylum cases, Radlin will back me up on this, a lot of them are already pretty basic when they're filed, just to sort of preserve the case, get it filed, get a place in line. And then you fill them in. And boy, I'll tell you, if you're really doing it yourself and you don't know what you're doing, and it gets just knocked right out from the get-go, that stinks.
Absolutely. In the practice, again, we're not asylum attorneys. We don't routinely take asylum cases. We do have some asylum cases. But the practice is often filing an asylum case in its skeletal form, just completing the application and providing the support at a later time. So that is going to be pretty tough going for people who and attorneys really who need to build a case. And if it needs to be 100% built at the time of filing, that is going to cause some serious hardship. But 100%, you should be using an immigration attorney to file your asylum case.
Yeah, and do you want to get to some questions, or you
Yeah,
want me to
let's,
give my last? I'll come back to this. There's
let's,
a final update, and I will come back to it after we hit some questions here.
Okay,
All
awesome.
right.
While I'm reading this question here on Facebook, you can take a look on TikTok for and gear it up. But
See
this,
if anybody
yes,
has posted it 20 times.
right. Hi, Christine. Yes, I do remember you. Thank you so much for coming to our live. And I do remember your case, and great job. Amazing on your 3.96 GPA. And Christine's question is about traveling to Canada. She has an arrest on her record. Charges were dropped for assault. So it's a charge, but not a conviction. And her question is, and we're getting a lot of travel questions, guys. Keep the travel questions coming, because we want to share the information that we have, and also give those who are traveling some peace of mind if they don't have any, if we don't believe that they have anything to worry about, or you have anything to worry about. But the question is Christine is, hey, she has this arrest. It's on her record, of course. There was no conviction. It was dismissed. And she's going to Canada for vacation in June for a week. Should she travel? Can she travel? Is she going to be fine coming back with this arrest on her record? Also mentions about U.S. citizenship application being denied. And so the answer is, Christine, is yes. With this one arrest on your record that were dropped, the charge was dropped, and that's all you have. Now, the fact that a U.S. citizenship, an N-400 application has been denied doesn't have anything to do with your lawful permanent residency here in the United States. Maybe the immigration the Customs and Border Protection, maybe they'll ask why it was denied. I don't think so. But you know what? Who knows? Who knows what will happen at the border, right? And if they ask you why the application was denied, you can still simply tell them the truth about that. Of course, always tell the truth, guys. We would never propose that you not tell the truth to any immigration officer. I mean, certainly don't volunteer information, but if
you are not required to volunteer information.
You're not required to just go blabbing about, right? you answer the question and always answer truthfully. For anyone who has an arrest or a charge or anything, even though this was dismissed, you should be getting a certified disposition about what happened with that case. So you can simply go to your clerk's office and ask for a certified disposition. Now here we have a charge that was dismissed, and that was from 6 years ago. Christine should be able to still go to her clerk's office, right? And get that certified disposition.
Yep.
If the certified disposition is no longer available, say it's 10, 15, 20 years old, then one thing that you should get also from the clerk's office is a letter saying that the record is no longer available. So with those measures and that documentation, people with this scenario should be fine coming back into the United States. And Christine, give my office a call so we can get into it, because you are a former client. I want to give you just a personal call, and we can discuss. And I want to hear and make sure that I'm answering all of your questions. Okay, so please give our office a call, Christine, tomorrow, and we'll talk sometime this week. So office number, Christine probably knows the office number, but for those of you, it's 757-464-9224. Again, that's 757-464-9224. And Christine asks the question of the last couple of months: can I travel because of X? So hopefully that answers your question for tonight, Christine, but I'm looking forward to talking to you tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm just going to piggyback off that for a moment, because we have been getting a lot of these questions. And when I hear, charges were dropped, charges were dismissed, be real careful here, because not all charges really were dismissed for immigration purposes. And I'm not talking about Christine, but just anybody else out there who has any criminal record of any kind. Be careful. You may feel like something was dismissed because you paid a fine, or maybe you went to some counseling and came back and the judge said it was dismissed. That's what's called a finding under advisement or a deferred finding. Those kind of convictions are, those sort of non-convictions are still convictions for immigration purposes. So be really careful if you had to do anything in exchange for having the charge get dismissed, because that probably was not a dismissal for immigration purposes. Secondly, she used the exact words, the charge was, I think that she said it was dropped.
Right.
Charges were dropped. Yeah. Just as a pointer, a tip, if you're dealing with your own criminal defense lawyers, if you're a non-US citizen and you have a criminal case pending, even if something is going to be dropped, you should ask your defense attorney to ask the judge to mark it as dismissed rather than dropped, because cases that are dropped sometimes can be viewed differently because there were no actual facts presented. There was no finding by the judge. It just got dropped for whatever reason. And if you admitted something, or there's a criminal complaint where something includes your statement, and maybe you admitted to, using drugs or something like that, this could come back to bite you somewhere down the road, because now you have an admission of the criminal conduct, even though the prosecutor, for whatever reason, chose to not pursue the case. Maybe they couldn't get the witness to come to court, or they had a problem with some of their evidence, whatever it may be, or maybe they just were in a good mood that day and decided to drop the charge. But just take that last step. Ask your lawyer to say, hey, we're dropping this charge. Can you mark it as dismissed rather than just null prost?
Great.
That's gonna look better on your record. Okay.
I don't like what Christine says here. She says she did call the office and they told her to come to the live. They must think that I'm busy or something. Now, we are traveling out of town to go to our daughter's. It's not high school graduation. It is college graduation. And we'll be out at the end of the week. But yes, Christine, please call again and tell them.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Just say, listen, I'm a former client. Come on now, guys.
Yeah, we have been kind of asking them to clear some space for us so that we can prepare for this big event. And so
it's a big event in our lives.
It's a very big event in our lives. Yes, it is.
Christine says, you were the best to me. I appreciate that. You are a great person and doing amazing things, and also doing God's work. So thanks for, okay, it was null prost. Yep. Yeah.
So it was
not prosecuted. Yeah.
Null prost, nulli proseque is Latin for basically it was not prosecuted is what that means. And that's an example, Christine. I mean, it's fine. I don't want you guys to get too bent out of shape. If you have a charge that was null prost and now you're freaking out thinking, oh man, don't. I'm just saying going forward, if it comes up, you're better off to have it marked dismissed. Okay.
All right. Awesome. I'm going to grab your phone real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure. Did you want to go ahead and grab something here from TikTok? Why don't we skip over real quick?
And then we'll get Rick's question. He says, I don't know how that popped up because Rick says, congratulations.
Yeah, Rand's Jazz over here is the very first one up on TikTok and wants to know the average wait time for adjustment of status through marriage.
That's why I got your phone. So is Rand's Jazz, if you can pop in where you're from, I'll look it up for you. But I will explain really quickly, guys, how to find processing time. So USCIS processing time, just put it in your browser. And okay, make sure you don't go to immigrationdirect.com because that's the wrong thing. So you would be going to a .gov website, which is USCIS. So John's phone is just, I don't know. So just Google USCIS processing times. Okay. And then this will pop up, check processing times. I don't see, you guys probably can't see that, but it says check processing times. At the top one, you see that it's USCIS.gov. You click on it. .gov. Gov. Am Am I pronouncing it wrong?
No, I'm just like reiterating because
Oh.
I actually, despite having been an attorney for more than 25 years, did something with our law firm not that long ago and paid $90
It
for
wasn't
something
bad.
that was free. And after I did it, I realized that I had just I was, multitasking and went to something similar. It was .net, not .gov. And I paid 60 or $90 and then realized that I could have done it for free.
Right. Some people also get immigration forms and they say, "Oh, Attorney Mendoza, I already have the form. I bought it for $75." I'm like, where did you buy for $75?
Yeah.
So, if you click on the wrong link, you it's
Happens to the best of us.
uscis.gov. It happens to the best of us. John is the smartest person I know, and he did it. He's
.gov.
.gov.gov. Be careful. Okay, so you'll go and then you'll see a couple of boxes here. The first box is going to be form. So this person is asking about the I-45. So I scroll down to the I-45, and then the category. She said family based, so it's going to be a family based adjustment of status. So that's what I'll click on there. And the next is the field office. Let's just say she's in Charlotte, North Carolina. These are all the field offices where I-45s are adjudicated. So we picked Charlotte, North Carolina, and the processing times in the Charlotte, North Carolina
It's going to come
is 19 months. It's going to be hard to see. So if you can see 19 months here, that's inverted for TikTok. And it's super easy, and it does help you just kind of get a sense of how long things are processing. Now, it says 80% of the cases are completed within 19 months. This is not an exact science. In fact, sometimes they're way off. And, for Norfolk, where we are, the Norfolk field office, I believe it's at like 24 months. And with marriage-based cases, it's 17 and a half months. So with marriage-based cases, it's, we're usually seeing those get adjudicated within the year. Hopefully that trend continues. And for those of you who are going to an interview, like this person who asked a question, be prepared. Okay. Don't go in there not knowing things that you should be knowing about your spouse, right? If you're going to a marriage-based adjustment of status interview, now these interviews are back. There was a pause during the Biden administration of all interviews. We still got interviews here and there, but for the most part, all of our marriage-based cases were done without an interview. Now we're back to interviews. Now this is something that was paused for 4 years. So 4 years out of 25 years of practicing law, hey, not bad. So what I'm trying to say is we've done 21 years of immigration interviews, and you have to be prepared.
You do.
And I'm not saying go out there and if it's not a real marriage, go cheat and find out all you need to know, like that movie. Was it called Green Card?
Green Card.
Yeah, like that old movie Green Card. I think there are two of them. I'm not talking about that. If people come to us, and this has happened a few times in our careers, if people come to us and right off the bat, people say, this is not a real marriage. I mean, I'm just trying to get my green card. They're walked right out the door. We do not represent people who are trying to defraud USCIS marriage-based cases for fraud and just for the green card. But even when you've known each other for a couple of years, make sure you know the important things, right? Like, have you spoken to parents? And if you haven't, why not? Does your spouse have any siblings? Has your spouse ever been married before, right? And this is even for like a fiance visa interview abroad. Has your spouse ever been married before? You should know that. You should know if your spouse has any children. But if we're talking about an adjustment of status, usually the couple is going to know that type of information. But just make sure you know. And I mean, I'm not really talking about necessarily color of toothbrush, but that those questions may be coming back. We haven't experienced that yet at the local immigration office, but they can get very specific. One time there was this big marriage fraud stuff going on in our neighborhood, our neck of the woods. And wow, every single one of my clients got split up, and they were crazy questions. Boxers or briefs, the side of the bed the spouse sleeps on,
Mhm.
and then the office was like, what side of the bed do you sleep on? And sometimes it's confusing, right? Like, what side of the bed? So I would always ask my client to draw the bed, draw the spouse, draw, just so there's no confusion whatsoever. And some of these questions, again, what did you give your spouse on their last birthday? Um, oh, it's February. What did you guys do for New Year's? That sort of thing. What'd you have for how did you get to the immigration office
Be
today?
prepared.
So just be prepared. You can find a lot of these questions on the internet, but
You don't want to forget the name of the night cream. That's have your downfall. That's what happened in Green Card, if you guys recall.
What's the name of my night cream?
Gerard
Night cream.
What was it? Gerard Depardieu or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes.
Remember, he couldn't remember the night cream, and then he said, "Oh, I keep forgetting." And that was the clue.
And that was it.
That was it. He was.
It's a great.
He was cooked, as our middle daughter would say.
Cooked. All right, let's get it. I think we've only answered like one question. Let's go.
Okay. Well, that was a good one because.
We're going to
Rick.
Rick has been patient here. Let's see what his question is.
All right, Rick.
All right. I have friends in Karachi, Pakistan. The wife, Hamna, along with her sister and cousin, are to visit mid-June in Dallas to family there. They have visiting visas. Should they anticipate problems during current circumstances under Trump? So this is a good question. They have visitor visas already, so they should be fine, right? They should be fine coming in with their visitors visas. If they are at the airport, at Customs and Border Protection, obviously CBP is going to ask the regular questions about what is the purpose of their visit, what are they planning on doing here, who are they coming to visit? Is that if they call the family members, the family member is going to know that they're coming. Do the family members, do they know that they're going to stay there? So these are things, the things that you tell CBP need to be actually true, right? And if there's a plan, like whatever it is, if they told the officer at the consulate the reason why they need these visitor visas is to go to X event or to do X thing, and then you get to the airport and you don't mention those things, right? Everything should be lining up, and it's very easy if you're telling the truth. And I don't think that because they're from Karachi, Pakistan, that they will have any issues just because they're from Pakistan. But I think that they need to be prepared, and they need to even practice answering questions calmly. You know?
Not have anything that seems suspicious. And by the way, CBP is one example. You don't always have to answer questions. That's one place where you do.
Right.
I mean, if you want in.
If you want in. That's right.
If you refuse to answer the questions, then they just will deny your entry. So
right, exactly. So it doesn't hurt to practice, right? What is the purpose of your trip? Who are you traveling with? Are you declaring anything? These questions, if you're answering them truthfully, not overly nervous, right? Then everything should be okay. Look, whenever I go through CBP, I'm nervous.
of course.
And I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born here, but it just is a nerve-wracking experience to be questioned.
And for those of you who have traveled internationally,
yeah,
you know it's especially nerve-wracking. I mean, when you're just on a family vacation, when you're going into another country, it's
right.
It's intimidating.
And it's actually even coming back into the United States, my own country. I'm still a little nervous, right? These are people who, can give you a hard time, and that's always a little bit nerve-wracking. So just tell your friends to try to be calm and make sure they have what they're doing. Just be able to say it and not hesitate.
Yeah, and be truthful.
Yep.
Now, here's the rule with all law enforcement, immigration officials, whatever. like I said, CBP, you have to answer the question, but everyone else, you don't necessarily have to answer all questions, but if you choose to answer a question, be honest in your answer. Lying is always the worst thing you can do. You're better off to just refuse to answer a question than to lie.
Right. Rick, that does not apply to your friends.
Not
They
to-
have to answer all the questions.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. That does not apply to them coming in, because if they refuse to answer the questions, then they'll just be turned away.
Yep. Awesome. Hopefully that helped, Rick.
Yeah. Hopefully they enjoy their visit and everything goes smoothly.
Yeah. Okay. So Rick has another follow-up question. What can I do to help Salim get permanent citizenship? He owns a business in Pakistan. I am retired. Can I help him sponsor? Possibly. I mean, if he has a business, maybe he can do an L1A visa, intra-company transferee, and open up a new business here in the United States. Rick, feel free to give us a call.
Yeah, you should give us a call and talk to us. We do family immigration, and we also do employment, business immigration as well. Those are the two of the big tracks in immigration and ways to get a benefit. So give us a call and we can explore some of the options that may be available.
Yep.
Okay. Super
Right.
loyal too. I'm not sure. Not really a question here. Went for my interview today. I think I'm in trouble. I forgot the name of the person who invited me.
Well, hold on a second. To interview for a visa to come to the United States, because when you yeah look, if you're going to your visa interview and you don't remember the person who invited you, that I feel like you would have just been denied on the spot. So maybe I'm not sure what I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure what interview you went to. So maybe you went to an adjustment of status interview and they ask you, how did you get to the United States? Oh, I came on a tourist visa to visit X person. Who was that person? Like, I don't know. I remember, and was it like 3 years ago or was it 15 years ago? I mean, I don't remember some of the people I went on a trip with from, when I was in college. You remember? Like, they were on the trip. So we need more context because I'm interested now. Like, what are we talking about here? I'm interested in knowing the rest of the story. So Rick, no, feel free to give us a call, and they will put you on the schedule for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah, you don't have to wait till next week to call. When we said that we're going to our daughter's graduation, we did not mean that our office will be closed. Our office is very much open.
Yeah.
We have a full staff. We have attorneys, paralegals.
We have a great team.
Everybody there. So nothing changes. When we're not there, the machine continues to operate just as smoothly as when we are there.
Maybe even more.
Sometimes even more smoothly. That's right.
Testament to our team.
Yeah,
right.
They're best.
They are the best. Okay.
Nina over here on TikTok, who was next up, wants to know. She says, I have a green card. My dad came here by asylum. Is it safe for me to travel back to my country? Yeah. I mean, Nina, I would ask your asylum attorney that question and run it by your attorney. We don't do asylum cases any longer, so I don't know the intricacies, and I don't want to answer that question because I'm just go back to your attorney. Even if I could answer the question, I would still recommend that you go back to your asylum attorney who prepared the case and ask them that question. All right, and thanks Zishan and Chillax. They got the number 1 and 2 gifter badge. Thank you for that. Oh, Zishan wants to know if I'm from China. Where's that? I don't even see that. Oh, are you from China? If I am, do we get another badge? Mm-hmm. No, I'm not. My parents are Filipino. They're full Filipinos. A lot of people think that I am Chinese, and I was born in the United States to my Filipino immigrant parents who immigrated to the United States in the mid-60s. But anyhow, thanks for the badge. Binford Moore says federal government employees. That's okay. I feel like something is definitely missing there. Thank you guys for all the
Look,
I know.
yeah, thanks for the love. Thanks for the badges. Really appreciate that. And for those of you guys on Facebook, feel free to like and follow our page, because we do come every week and do this live Q&A, and we appreciate your support. All the questions that you ask, they're not just helping you, they're helping other people who may have the same questions. So
Yeah, Marcel 98512 wants to know, if you had a DUI 20 years ago and now you're a U.S. citizen, should you be concerned when traveling? I'm going to say no.
no,
You should not be concerned about traveling, at
Don't.
least in terms of coming back into the U.S.
Yeah,
I will warn you, there are some countries, other countries in the world, not the United States,
like Canada,
for example, where you cannot freely go in if you have a DUI conviction. So I don't know where you're headed. If it's Canada, you may want to check and make sure that you can get in, but you won't have a problem coming back into the U.S.
Yep. So just a second about that. There are a lot of U.S. citizens, naturalized U.S. citizens, not a lot, but there are some U.S. citizens, and specifically naturalized U.S. citizens, who are concerned about traveling, right? They have a DUI conviction. They have, convictions, period. You should be able to come back into the United States. So United States citizens cannot be refused entry back into the United States. You might get held up and get questioned, but you cannot be denied entry as a U.S. citizen back into the United States.
Yeah, you can be held up, you can be hassled, but you cannot be denied entry. That's true.
Now, like, they can arrest you if there's like an outstanding arrest warrant.
Yep.
If they believe they have probable cause to believe that you're a terrorist, they can arrest you. But, those are very extreme measures. We're talking about your run-of-the-mill U.S.
Right.
citizen who, maybe has a assault and battery charge, or a marijuana possession conviction, or, a DUI, or a reckless driving ticket, or what are some of the other petty things? Shoplifting. You should be fine. And even, more serious things, you will still be allowed to enter the United States.
Rick says you're going to call tomorrow on schedule.
Awesome.
Good choice, Rick. Okay. And then we had Super Loyal 12 too. You said you were now curious. He forgot the name of the person who invited him to the U.S. On his interview, is what he said.
Right, but what interview was that? His green card interview? Naturalization?
That was his update.
I mean, maybe. My cousin here, Roy, how long are they allowed to detain me when all communication breaks down? Is this because of bad behavior or what? For hours, call me. Roy, great to see you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Hey, I hope you went to Metallica, because I believe they were in Vegas. Anyway, I read that Metallica's one of their concerts, maybe it was in Vegas, it registered as a small earthquake. Now that would have been awesome to be at. Ear protection though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay.
Stone looks great, Roy, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Next question. We don't have any more questions here on Facebook.
Okay, and Marcel said it was a misdemeanor and the green card was granted after it was, that's a follow-up there. Okay. Jack, this is a choppy question. See if you can make sense of this.
Okay.
How long prosecutorial discretion enjoin in a motion to reopen, dismiss proceedings, VAWA approve?
How long prosecutor discretion enjoined in a motion to reopen, dismiss proceedings, VAWA approved? Oh, I don't know. Jack, listen. What Jack is trying to say is that he has removal proceedings against him. His attorney is trying to get the ICE attorney to join in a motion to reopen his case and dismiss, terminate his removal proceedings so he can proceed with an approved VAWA petition and then therefore apply for adjustment of status. And we need the government's help here, right? We need them to join in on this motion and say, hey, this person has a benefit. He was in removal proceedings. Maybe he's ordered removed already. Now we have a benefit, and now he can get his green card through this benefit. Will you join in our motion to terminate his old removal case? This is what Jack is asking. And I don't know how long that'll take. They could take some time. I mean, they could take sometimes some of our joint motions, because they are joint. It's discretionary, right? I mean, they can say no. Sometimes they would take years. Sometimes it would take a year. Sometimes it would take a couple of years, and we'd have to keep following up. Now, if you're filing one now and you have been ordered removed, I don't know. I mean, they could say no and remove you, right? And I don't know all the facts of your case, Jack. I'm gathering all of this from the message there, which is just like 4 things that you're listing that you're kind of going through. So I would go back to your attorney and try to find out what they say and just follow their advice.
She has a gift for. Radlin has a gift
decoding
for decoding these questions.
Short TikTok messages.
Yes, absolutely. Roy says it was Virginia Tech. They didn't want to go.
Oh my gosh, that would have been so crazy.
Okay. I wonder why. No tech, huh? Okay, let's hit Chillax real quick, and then I'm going to hit this other update real quick.
Okay.
Chillax wants to, hello, my question is it safe for a green card holder to travel domestically or on a cruise? Thanks.
So travel domestically, like in the United States? Yeah, you need your real ID though if you're using only your driver's license. But if you have your permanent resident card, that's fine to get you on an airplane. So lawful permanent residents can travel domestically. Lawful permanent residents can travel outside of the United States and come back in. Just don't stay out for more than 180 days. And if you have any type of criminal record history, if you are a protester, if you, I say criminal record history, I said you've got a bunch of, protesting, anti-government, pro-terrorist stuff that you're protesting. And it maybe seems like it's, supporting terrorism and anti-US government. If you have been outside of the United States for more than 100 days, and I'm talking about international travel, so I'm kind of going above this. And I'm sure I've forgotten some of the things that we've warned about. But if you have any of those issues, then you need to just evaluate and just make sure you're all good and all of that stuff is all taken care of. Now, with regard to the protesting and social media posts that could be interpreted as anti-US government, pro-terrorism, that's a little bit more nuanced, and it's also the interpretation of it. So be careful with that. But domestically, absolutely yes. Just remember about the real ID. You're talking about cruising. I mean, if you're talking about cruising domestically, yes, right around the United States, you go to Florida, maybe you go to but if you cruise outside of the United States, you still can do that. Now, as a permanent resident, you always have to remember, okay, does this country require me to have a visa? Because you're not yet a US citizen, say you're from the Philippines and you want to go on a cruise, but that country requires Filipino citizens to have a visa. You will have to get a visa first before going to that country on the cruise, or whether you're traveling by plane. So hopefully that answers your question, guys. If you're a permanent resident, there's been a lot out there about permanent residents getting caught and getting arrested and getting detained when they're trying to come back into the United States. Most of you are going to be fine. Okay. Apart from the things that I just mentioned, most of you are going to be okay. We just need to take the precautions.
Yeah, be careful with the criminal records. Same things that we mentioned before. Make sure that if it was something that was dismissed or if you were convicted, it matters what it was. There's some really quirky things in immigration law. One of them is that there are certain criminal convictions that are not grounds to remove you from the United States, but they are grounds to not let you come in. They don't make you removable, but they do make you inadmissible. And once you leave U.S. soil and then you're coming back in, the rules change a little bit. And so you got to be careful to make sure that if you do have something on your record, it's not something that makes you inadmissible.
Yep. All right. I have a question here.
I saw Roy's question here.
Roy, I'm gonna get John's question real quick before Roy's. My son married a U.S. citizen. Son wants to visit us in the United States, but does not want to be petitioned. Can he get a visa? So yes, your son can apply for a visa to come to the United States, certainly to come visit. Will he get it? Maybe not, right? So where is the U.S. citizen spouse? I mean, I'm assuming they're together, but the 4 agreements never make assumptions. That's one of them. We were just talking about that today with Sammy. Never make assumptions. So if your son is abroad, his spouse is in the United States, his parents are in the United States, he wants to come visit his spouse and parents, or let's just even say parents, he's going to have to apply for a visa and show that he does not, he has strong ties to his country and that he's not planning on immigrating, even though he has a spouse who is a U.S. citizen. So if your son and his spouse have they're living in abroad and they have a place together and they have their jobs and they're in school and they have strong ties to your son's country and he has zero desire to come to the United States as a lawful permanent resident, and he can articulate that and show that through documents like his employment letter, or if he's in school, his school letter, and then there's a chance that he might be issued that visa. But there are strong reasons why they might not issue that visa. Number one, his spouse is a U.S. citizen, so they're automatically going to think, oh, he's got immigrant intent. He wants to immigrate to the United States. He's trying to cut and just get this visa. He's going to get here. He's going to apply for adjustment of status. We all know that's not what he's doing, but that's what the visa officer, the consular officer, is going to initially believe. So he's going to have to overcome that assumption that the visa officer, consular officer, is making. So parents are in the United States. Let's just assume parents are permanent residents or U.S. citizens. Another strong reason why he would want to immigrate to the United States because his parents are here. So that's, that's 2 parents. So that's 3 strikes against him: mom, dad, and spouse, all U.S. citizens or all living in the United States or permanent residents or ability to live in the United States. And those are the things that are going to be going against him when he applies for that visa and whether they're going to grant it or not. Hopefully that helps, John.
Yeah, their initial thinking is going to be, oh, you want to just visit for a couple weeks. Yeah, what do you think? We're idiots. We know what you're up to.
Yeah, right.
And so he's going to have to, overcome that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, what do we have here on TikTok? And then we'll grab Roy's questions.
These same questions about more of this travel got put up a few times. William wants to know, hi, I have an assault class A misdemeanor. It is deferred adjudication order in 2011, planning to travel.
Okay. So is this Jay?
This is William.
William Mejia.
Mm-hmm.
So William, same recommendation that we've been talking about tonight, and that is to get a copy of your certified disposition and, have an attorney take a look at it. And, it's a class A misdemeanor. This isn't a different, this is.
We don't know where you are. We don't in Virginia. Our office is located in Virginia Beach, Virginia. We do not have class A misdemeanors. We don't have letters. We use numbers, class 1, 2,
Right.
3, etc.
So class A probably is
Probably is the same as a class 1 misdemeanor
right.
here.
And just to clarify, state laws are different in every state, right? Your state's assault and battery is different from Virginia's assault and battery, but federal law is the same. It applies the same to all 50 states, which is why we're able to represent people in all 50 states for immigration matters. But, you know, attorneys in any state and immigration attorneys in any state can take a look at that class A misdemeanor in the certified disposition and see what the outcome is and make a determination. Hey, is it going to be safe for you to travel? So one question I have, William, it's you got this in 2011. So that was 14 years ago. When are you going to apply for U.S. citizenship if you are a permanent resident?
Yeah, William.
He didn't answer. William, take a look at my next to the last video that I made about permanent residents who are renewing their green cards when they really should be seriously thinking about applying for U.S. citizenship. So William Mejia, going to call you out. William Mejia, you won't have to ask these questions on our live. You won't even have to come to our live anymore because you will be a U.S. citizen. Seriously think about applying for U.S. citizenship if you are eligible. 2011 conviction, if that's the only thing you have, you should be good and otherwise eligible for U.S. citizenship. We can absolutely help you with that wherever you are. So William, give us a call. Great question though.
Yeah, don't confuse when I was talking earlier about
Yeah, that's why I clarified.
deferred adjudication is dismissed in the state law. It still is a conviction for immigration purposes, but as Radlin said, you would, assuming there's nothing else, you would still be eligible to naturalize.
Okay.
You know, just because you have a conviction, just so we're clear,
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can't naturalize. People with convictions can. There just is a good moral behavior period that you have to go through.
Yeah, and some of these cases that we've seen where they're blasted all over social media, and they are very heartbreaking cases where people who are permanent residents and traveled back in, they had an embezzlement conviction from 2001, they had a possession of drugs conviction, and these people could have naturalized even with these convictions, most likely, and that would have cured the problem. So many people who have a conviction don't want to naturalize because they think their naturalization is going to get denied. But they think that because they don't know and they haven't actually talked to anyone, and they've actually asked the internet if that's true, and the internet says, yeah, don't naturalize, but it's not true necessarily. I won't bore you guys with my 9 hours of battling a problem that I caused myself with our website, and it took me 9 hours to try to fix, and I still couldn't fix it. I called our web guy who is opposite time is that, so I'm up all night like for all these hours trying to fix the problem with ChatGPT by my side, like trying to fix the problem. And I was absolutely going crazy and insane. You can ask John. I sent him a text at like 4:00 in the morning. I was like, do not wake me up tomorrow morning.
And for those of you who joined us late, we are married. So in case you're thinking that's a weird thing.
Yeah. So Toby fixed it in minutes. He said, oh, don't worry about it, Rather. I was like, how much do I owe you? Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Wow. It must have taken you hours. Like, no. It was a super quick fix. It was done in minutes. And
thanks, Chillax. That's all.
Yeah.
Right.
I should have gone to a professional immediately. And I made the problem. I know I caused the problem, and I told John, I woke up, I was like, did not take our advice, my own advice that I give to the people who we talked to. It was like, go to a professional. Anyway, I ultimately did. And, it was a very good lesson learned. Never touch the website again.
This sounds like bragging. I mean, I suppose that it is. It's just telling the truth that when you're dealing with a professional immigration lawyer, they're going to immediately.
We are going to
immediately see. We are immediately going to identify the problems in the case and what needs to be addressed. It's like when I did criminal trial work, after years, there would be testimony from the prosecution witnesses, young new lawyers who didn't know what they were doing yet would ask hundreds of questions, just pointless questions that didn't do anything. And those who had experience, like myself, eventually, once the case rested, I knew exactly what the defect was. I could see it, and I would just wait till they were done and rested their case, and then I would just kill it.
Yeah, killed it.
Because I could see it. It's like,
Yeah.
it just, it's like in the Matrix when it all slows down and there's just noise everywhere. But the seasoned immigration lawyer just can see exactly what the issue is and how to address it. Well, not always how to address it. I shouldn't say that. What the issue is. And then we set about figuring out, strategizing, how are we going to get through this problem?
Yeah. So go to a professional. It would be amazing if it were us, because we do a great job for our clients. So, all right. Roy says, how long are they allowed to detain my green card holders, his family who are green card holders, when all communication breaks down? Winnipeg Jets were playing, so we are going to see them in Philly so I can photograph the church floor we did if I don't catch on fire.
So Roy is just a master artist craftsman with all kinds of
Natural stone.
Natural stone. It's really, really cool stuff that he does. Roy, that's so cool. I hope you get to take the photograph.
Yeah. So the question is, how long can they detain the green card holders? So they can detain the green card holder a long time. They can detain them for all day. We recently had a client call about her daughter, and we've talked about this a couple of times on our lives. And her daughter left the United States for a short trip. She's a permanent resident. And then when she came back, her old conviction, shoplifting conviction from about 8 years prior, popped up. And she got detained 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that 10 hours? For 10 hours. And then they issued a notice to appear in immigration court. And, the first time my old client called me, it was calm. She's like, oh, my daughter's being questioned in secondary. Do you think everything's been okay? I have no idea. I don't know anything about your daughter's case. Then she's still being questioned. This is a couple hours later. Then the texts were getting more and more frantic. And finally, I picked up the phone and called her, and she was sobbing. She's like, they're arresting my daughter. They're arresting my daughter. And they had taken her to another place. They didn't arrest her and keep her, thankfully, because she is a permanent resident and you are allowed to go and see an immigration judge. And for this particular conviction, it falls under the petty offense exception. And so she was given a notice to appear in immigration court to show why she should not be losing her permanent resident, her permanent resident status. So that was very scary. And so that was a long time that the person was detained. Roy, give me a call tomorrow. That's not going to happen to you guys, but it's a good question on how long a person can be detained. But remember, guys, you are permanent residents of the United States. Only an immigration judge can take away your lawful permanent resident status unless you sign an abandonment of your lawful permanent resident status at the port of entry. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't sign anything abandoning your green card because you're getting bullied, you're getting stressed, you're getting held, you're getting questioned. Don't do that.
Stay strong. Because like citizens, the permanent residents, you also ultimately have to be let in. Only an immigration judge can take further action beyond that.
Yeah.
Unlike, we had the person calling or asking earlier about the visitor visa. Visitors can just be, for whatever reason, denied entry. They don't have any recourse. But citizens and permanent residents do have to be let in, and permanent residents can only be removed or have something done with their green card by an immigration judge, not any immigration officer.
Yep.
Okay, we are short on time. Elaine wanted to know, good night. Does tax have anything to do with travel back home? I'm not sure even you can.
Taxes, no. Like you owe taxes, you haven't filed taxes, you have a payment plan with the IRS. I mean, these are all tax issues, right? And if you're a lawful permanent resident, that's when you come back in. Those are not issues that are going to make you ineligible to come back into the United States. They are issues if you are planning on applying for US citizenship. I don't know if that's what your question is, but since you hyped me up with the decoding, I just thought I would give it a shot.
I think you nailed it. Okay, we are out of time. Last question. Can we get one more?
Yes.
Squeeze one more in here. Jay wanted to know, is it safe for people going to their interviews? Are we required to take our phones for an I-130 or adjustment of status? I-130 adjustment of status. So,
is it safe for people going to their interviews? Oh, okay. So, is it safe? I don't know.
this is the $1 billion question.
This is
right
the
now.
$1 billion question.
That's
is
why
it
I
safe?
wanted to take it.
Okay. Is it safe? Yeah, it's because it's 9. I started to fade away there. But that's a great question. If you take a look at my last post on TikTok, I am showing a recent Instagram post for USCIS, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. USCIS is different from ICE. ICE, Immigration and Customs Force, that is the enforcement arm. Those are the guys you see on social media. They're, going and arresting people, right? USCIS, that is the agency that gives the benefit. They give the green card, they approve the green card, they approve N-400s, the application for naturalization, H-1Bs, L-1As. But their recent Instagram posts are showing more of an ICE side, right? Their recent Instagram post has a picture of handcuffs and, make America safe again, picture of handcuffs. That's what the post is. This is on a USCIS Instagram post. Now the caption says, a man from, or I don't know, an Argentinian alien. This is what it says. An Argentinian alien. We don't know if it's a man or woman. An Argentinian alien filed an I-130 petition, and at their interview in Kendall, I don't know where Kendall is, the officer realized that he had a 2006 removal order, and we immediately called ICE, our friends at ICE, and had him arrested immediately. So this is USCIS recent post. So it goes to this question, is it safe for people to go to their interviews? It depends on your background, right? Now, this person, whether he knew it or not, he had a 2006 removal order. Now, a lot of people don't know they've been ordered removed by an immigration judge. Somebody might be like, "What? Why? How could that be?" They don't know that they've been served with a notice to appear in immigration court. They're removed in absentia. They don't know. My advice here, my recommendation here, because we're not giving legal advice, but the recommendation is, if you don't know what your past immigration history is for whatever reason, maybe you came to the United States as a minor, maybe at some point in time you were under a parent's case and their case never got settled and you were underneath their case. And so maybe all of you were ordered removed. You need to do your due diligence and find out what is going on with your immigration history. So a lot of times we do that with a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request. And in getting that history down, I mean, the messaging right now is very clear. You need to be prepared. You need to know and know what your history is. You need to have an immigration lawyer. And you need to not file an I-130 petition, an adjustment of status application, if you have a removal order. Guys, if you have a removal order, an I-130 petition, an adjustment of status does not fix that. It does not cure that. You would need to go to the immigration court first and try to get that terminated. And by the way, are we going to the immigration court right now and asking for a joint motion for ICE to join in a joint motion to terminate an old removal? Hell no, we're not doing that. Because that's like immigration suicide right now. I mean, they're arresting these people. So you just can't be careless with the filings, you know. You cannot be careless with the filings. You need to have representation. I know this seems like it's self-serving, but it's true right now. You cannot mess around. And I'm so glad that we ended with that question
Jay.
because of that Instagram. I totally already forgot about it, even though I just posted like a couple of hours ago. But it's very, very important. This is not the only person who was arrested at USCIS. I mean, there are a couple of other stories where, you know, another mom, she didn't know she had a removal order. Her lawyer didn't know that she had a removal order because it happened when she was a minor, just like I was talking about, and that can happen. So we're all going to have to really just double down, do our best, and doing our due diligence. And whatever immigration attorney that you hire, you have to tell them your full history. I mean, you have to tell them your full history. It means, you know, we were talking and we were talking to an intern, or I don't remember who we were talking to, and the bottom line is like, you know, clients sometimes lie. And I think they lie because, you know, we all want to be liked, right? We don't care about your immigration history. We're not going to like you less if you got ordered removed. We need to know that information. And so be truthful. And that way, if we can do something for you, we can do it with all of the information that we need. And if we can't, because of the information that we have, we're not going to file, right? We're not going to put you in harm's way. Anyhow.
Okay, that was
All
quite
right.
the answer. 6 minutes by my.
John is timing me now.
Yeah, that was a 6-minute answer. That is dedication. Okay, folks, we really are out of time now.
We're out of time.
But Jay, I'm so glad we wanted to get to that because I knew that was going to be a good question.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Don't be scared, folks. We're not trying to scare everybody. This is a time to be crossing the T's and dotting the I's and getting professional help doing it. Okay, more than ever. All right. If it's not us, find somebody, but give us a call. Okay, start with us. If you think that you need an attorney, you want to get an attorney, call us. If we can't help you or we think you'd be better served by someone else, then we'll let you know. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you. 2 thumbs up. Now, we are going to not be doing our live because we're going to be in Vermont next week through Monday. And so it will be the week after.
Yeah.
But
we'll miss you next Monday, following Monday, and I'll bring you this other update then. Okay.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's okay. They had good questions. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.